Alright everybody, how's it going? Today we're going to be playing a little bit more Nomad Survival. For this video, we're going to be going with the everything build. So I'm going to be going out of my way to get every weapon and every passive in the game. And we're going to see how that goes. I'm a little concerned when it comes to the later end of the game, just because your damage is probably going to be a little bit lower since you're spreading your levels really thin. I'm going to go ahead and go with the Rat Folk Archer on this one. And I'm going to go with Nomad, so I get extra rolls basically, so that we can not exactly guarantee, but have a lot higher chance of actually hitting everything. So, gonna go ahead and see how this one goes. Gonna do it 100% speed, just because 30 minutes is a long time. So, we'll see how it goes, and I will be back at the end of the video. I have a feeling the chests are going to be pretty relevant in this one. I'm not sure when I'm going to be able to hit any level 2, basically, because there's so many passives. So these chests are going to be huge. Oh, look, there's a new chest animation. That's pretty cool. Oh, and you get to pick. That's pretty nifty. You even got rerolls. Well, this is new to me. Neither of these really, I don't really care for. Oh, and it actually costs rerolls. That's awesome. That's pretty cool. And an invocation. This is new. That's pretty huge. Instantly level up. That's so helpful at the end of the game. I wouldn't say that the chests were exactly underwhelming, but that definitely significantly increases the value of those chests. Because sometimes you just run into situations where the relic that you roll in the chest doesn't really have any impact on your build, especially later on in the game. In the first, you know, one or two chests that you get, you could probably still play around. So say you get like a level 10 or maybe a weapon upgrade that you really enjoy, you can change your build a little bit, but the later chests don't really have as big of an impact because it takes so much longer to level up, and you're really kind of focused on getting whatever weapons you're focusing on to max level. So, wow, I just creamed that boss. That was underwhelming. But yeah, so I could see why they would make a change like this. This is really nice. And the instantly level up is pretty fantastic. That just guarantees at least 7 more levels if you really want to go that way. Or 70 rerolls. I'm not sure if you saw the other one. You get 10 free rerolls, and that's huge. That makes all the other builds a little bit more playable if you really want those extra rerolls. Alright, there is all of the weapons, so now we can focus on getting those passives. Overall, I mean, it's going pretty well. The only thing that I don't like is that it off-screens a lot of the things, so I'm not 100% sure where things are dying, so it takes a little bit longer to level up, basically. I really like the new chests, I gotta say. That definitely gives you so many more options when it comes to whatever your build you're going, so I do like the change. Also, it just looks really nice. I mean, that chest it's in your face, and it's like, hey, you got a chest. You got some goodies. I do wish that it told you what the relic did, but at least you know what weapon it's going to apply for, and you can kind of dig a little bit for the ones that you want, because same thing that I was saying earlier, it's pretty impactful when you get a relic you want early game, because generally I would say you go into this with an idea of what you want to go with your build. Like, say you want to focus on one weapon in particular, or maybe one passive and just do something really stupid, but you hit the relic you want 24 minutes into the game, and you're kind of just sad because it's like, well, shoot, that would have been nice 22 minutes ago. So this makes it to where you could dig a little bit more. So the Nomad heritage is probably going to be a little bit more relevant because you can actually use all those extra rerolls outside of just rerolling for weapon skills and passives. So that's really nice. I like that change. I'm gonna kind of ignore the boss. I don't have the best like upfront solo damage, so we'll just let him get poked down pretty slowly while I just run around, level up more. This is probably my least favorite boss. The other two are so much simpler. This guy just seems a little bit tankier than the other two. And the slimes in general are quite obnoxious, I have to say. They're probably like the healthiest monster that there is. Oh my god, I walked into that. That was pretty dumb. But yeah, they're probably like the healthiest monster in comparison to everything else. Because I feel like this time in the game, you're not, you know, overwhelmingly powerful unless you just go chain lightning, because chain lightning's pretty busted. And so you don't have a ton of damage, but the mobs are also not super OP, and they have a chunky amount of HP, I gotta say. Oh, I got a bonus roll. Nice. It does stack exponentially though. As you can see, my next reroll now on the chest is 32 rerolls, and that is a lot for anyone. I'm only level 36, so if you're playing on a normal character, you're only gonna have 36 rerolls. So the Nomad heritage is pretty nice. I'm really having to dig. There it is. Okay, so we officially have everything. Everything has been accomplished. Now, I think for the rest of the build, I'm just gonna go for skill size. I want to see how impactful that is. Skill size and just the flat damage increase. I'll leave everything at the low levels unless I get kind of unfortunate with my rerolls. EXP is pretty good all the time also, but we'll see. Can never pass up chain lightning. Chain lightning, easily the best weapon skill in the game. If you ever have chain lightning on your weapon bar, you are going to be dealing tons of damage. It just significantly outclasses any other weapon skill so far, at least for the builds that I've done. I might not be doing the builds 100% the most optimal, but chain lightning is so good. The material cloak is pretty, I think, underlooked all the time also. It's really, really good. It gets you out of some really shitty situations. Oh, I got the level 10 spectral bow. That's pretty nice. Especially on this round, when these mobs come, they generally like to crowd you pretty crazily. So immaterial cloak is pretty strong here. Oh, that looks so good now, I gotta say. Yeah, that Ascension Relic is really fun. The move speed it gives you is super relevant. And Ascension procs so often that you almost don't need to get the movement speed passive. Overall though, I'd say the build's performing pretty well. Obviously I probably couldn't stand still, but it's killing things relatively quickly. We'll see on the next boss when it spawns how that goes, but the third boss isn't as bad as the second in my opinion. Wow, it really wants me to go Spectral Bow, I gotta say. Oof, this hard. I'll go with it. The skill size is, I think, the more enjoyable thing right now. just purely for the whole build, since I'm not leveling most of the other weapon skills up. If they're able to hit a couple more enemies, that's going to be a little bit more impactful than if I were to focus level 1 weapon skill. Okay, here's the next boss. I think I'll do the same thing and not really focus him too heavily. See, I don't do crazy damage really, not to the boss anyways. They do have, you know, a large amount of HP, but not that significant. I do like this one. This is the one that gives you the boss skills. So this chest ability is really fun because it lets you have a skill from the slain boss, and it's pretty impactful sometimes. Like, I'm not sure if you can see, but the rocks are coming up from the ground like from the previous boss that was just killed, and with my weapon skill increase, it is ginormous. So that's pretty good. And also those all have really decent damage in comparison to like the base weapons. They all do a significant amount of damage. It's also nice occasionally seeing the 99999 from the one-shot kills that are only supposed to proc a little bit, but you know, when you have everything going off at the same time, it seems to proc pretty decent. Every time. It just makes me happy. It looks so good. See if I can get weapon skill size to max. Nice, okay, so this is as big as everything could possibly get at level 1. So I can only imagine if you got some of the relics that double the size of your weapon skills, or actually just level up some of the weapon skills, they would be ginormous. And honestly, just with the flat damage increase, I mean, this isn't the fastest clearing build in the world, but it's definitely pretty decent. I don't feel like I'm, you know, worried about dying or anything like that. We'll see how the last boss goes. Oh, it looks like I can't dig anymore. Unfortunate. skill duration wasn't bad either, honestly, for another thing to level up. It's just by getting all the weapon skills and the passives, you spread so thin already when it comes to the points you get to put your levels in. Here, let's see. We'll take a second here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 times 2, 34, 35, 36. So 36 of my levels, my 58 levels, went into getting each of these to level 1. So I've only had 22 levels to put extra points in. That's significantly underwhelming. That's only 2 weapons to the max level. Obviously, if you were to go and put into the item pickup range and the experience passives, you would be a significantly higher level than 58. But overall, I wouldn't say I'm like that under leveled in comparison to where I would normally be. Probably be hitting around 70 about now. For any of those that don't know, the last boss is basically accumulation of every boss you fought so far. It has every single ability that all of the other bosses had. And it's a pain, but it's not that bad. So as you can see, here's our top 5 from that. Chain Lightning is one that we actually put extra points into, but it was only 4 levels, so you can see it's 6 times the amount of damage that anything else is even close to. And then my weapon skill, same thing. So you can see just how significantly better Chain Light Shock is just in comparison to everything else. I'm surprised Icicle Barrage is all the way up there. I did get this pretty early on, but I did not think it would do this much damage. Energy Wave is, I mean, it hits the whole screen, so it's kind of hard to beat that. And Great Divider I'm also kind of surprised by. So it looks like my 2 skills that were the ones that go directional to where you're facing actually did the most damage. And it makes sense a little bit because I was always kind of moving, but overall I would say that was relatively easy. I mean, it wasn't too stressful. I never really got too low outside of when I stood on the boss, and that was just plainly me not paying attention. It wasn't anything crazy. These numbers are pretty low in comparison to if you were to focus on a couple skills, but overall I would say the everything build definitely is not bad. And while you do it, you also get 2 achievements, because there's 2 achievements in here. Not sure if I will be able to find them too quickly, but it's get every non-passive skill and every passive. So you get both of these while you're doing that build. So pretty fun. Overall, I definitely give the build maybe just a 6 of 10 because it wasn't the most enjoyable thing in the world, but it was aesthetically pleasing because you got to see every single ability, and then adding on the weapon skill size, that's really fun. I enjoy doing that in general on most of my builds. It's not really the most realistic one, but if you ever run into the Ray, the one that slides all the way across the screen left to right, the big blue guys, if you hit the relic that doubles those size and then you get those to max, it is arguably almost the whole screen. So that is also a good time. I'll probably make a video on that one too. But yeah, hey, if there's any builds that you guys are interested in or that you personally like yourself, go ahead and let me know down below. Otherwise, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next video.